Ms. Narita, thank you for the time you've taken to sit with me for this chat. It's really a video chat. I think it would be important to first look at your period as the Secretary of the Indian Ocean Memorandum of Understanding for 8 years, I believe it is. What have been your experiences?
Thank you for this opportunity to be here. I joined this organization as a Deputy Secretary in the year 2012, and then I took over as a Secretary from 1st of June 2013. So it's been a journey from 2013 to 2019, and when I took over as a Secretary, we had 17 member authorities. We worked hard to increase our presence in the Indian Ocean MOU region, and till date, I'm happy to say that we are now 20 member authorities, and very soon Qatar may be joining us as a 21st member authority. So the journey has been good from the time I joined. Yes, there were challenges during the period. As you are aware that we have a committee meeting every year. We bring those challenges to the committee members, to the authorities, and I'm happy to say that all the member authorities have been very, very cooperating, and they have been giving full support to the IMOU Secretariat. During the committee meetings, whatever problems we face, whatever problems the authorities have with our systems, especially the uploading of the PSC reports, we deal with them throughout the year. It's all the 12 months between the committee meetings, the authorities and the Secretariat are in touch with each other through the emails. The certain other challenges of what we faced was implementation of the new inspection regime. Now this new inspection regime was, earlier it used to be on the target factor. But then in 2017, we thought that we should now switch over to the new inspection regime, because we can target only the substandard ships and award the ships which are in a better seaworthy conditions, and not to target those ships which are much, much better in a seaworthy conditions. So we implemented the new inspection regime in the year 2018 from January, and it has been working very satisfactorily. As you are aware that most of the member authorities have a big issue on the manpower. The post-trade control activity is a priority, but sometimes when the flag state has other issues in their hand, then sometimes the PSC activity takes a back seat, because as the resources, because you have to have a resource in the administration to carry out these work. We have a target factor of 10% to achieve for the member authorities. Few member authorities are able to achieve this 10% target factor. That target factor 10% means the total number of ships which are visiting your port, you do at least 10% of them. But few of the member authorities are still not able to achieve that. They're trying their best, member authorities are trying their best, but again, as I said, there is a resource crunch with respect to these activities in the maritime authorities.
Is that resources in terms of finance? Is it skilled personnel? What is the issue that faces many of these countries?
Many of these faces, what happens, one issue could be, I was discussing with one of the member authority, he said, that last 2 years, 3 port state control officers have resigned. And the government has not given them the permission to recruit new port state control officers. It's not always the finance, it's all what is happening nowadays. The seafaring job is not that lucrative which used to be earlier, because there are so many other avenues, so many other opportunities in the shore are available, which which earlier the seafaring job only used to give. The traveling out at sea on a ship was one of the most fascinating things to, but today, as you know, that traveling from one country to the other is not a very big achievement as it used to be earlier 30 years back or 20 years back. So one of the reasons why the port state control officers or the maritime administration is facing, because these officers have better opportunities ashore, better paid jobs. So that is one of the reasons that they are not able to get port state control officers. They don't get employed as a port state control officers. They are employed as a surveyors or in the administration. But port state control is one of the activity they carry out. Other thing what after I took over was I focused on the training of the port state control officers. And we were very fortunate that we had funding from Australia, which was known as the AUSAID. And through this funding, I conducted 3 expert missions in 3 different maritime authorities, member states. And one of the most important seminar, or rather the mission was on the Maritime English course, which we conducted in Comoros. Because when a port state control officer goes on the ship, the language, the common language used is English. So this was possible because of the funding from Australia. And I was also fortunate during my time as a secretary that we had 2 expert mission funding from the International Maritime Organization. And all these training we were doing along with the Tokyo MOU. They were facilitating this training for us. I am happy to inform that now Indian Ocean MOU is capable of doing the training on their own. We have conducted 3 to 4 seminars over the period last 5 years with the experts from our member authorities. And I'm also glad to inform you that during this committee meeting, today itself we have got an approval to conduct an expert mission training every year with our own funding from our resources and the experts from the members of the Indian Ocean MOU authorities. So we are no more dependent on the other MOU for imparting the training to our port state control officers, because training is the main criteria which requires updating of knowledge for the port state control officers, and then only they will be able to do a satisfactory work.
But looking now at the ship owners, would you say that in the period that you have been secretary, you have received much cooperation? Do they cooperate, the ship owners?
As a secretariat, we do not have much I should say, interaction with the ship owners.
Okay.
We have only the interaction with the member authorities.
Now, I asked the question because looking at the figures, for example, for 2018, there were quite a few detentions, I think just over 200.
Yes.
And obviously, I think at the back of my mind, what I have is, if a vessel is detained, then the owner needs to know, and because there's cargo on board this thing, it's supposed to be sailing from one port to the next, and it gets detained, say in South Africa.
Yeah.
There has to be a report to the owner, and there has to be a reaction of some sort. Now, I think the question I'm asking then is, in terms of the regime and the work that you have done so far, and obviously the awareness that is out there that these countries are not going to allow substandard vessels. Has the reaction been favorable to the idea by having less of these vessels that are substandard?
Yes, with regard to when you say that the ships were detained, but as you know, we have a detention review panel also, and then we have an appeal procedure. And when I say appeal procedure, the ship owner, the flag state, the RO, recognized organization, they can, if they feel that the detention has been done wrong, the port state controller officer has overstepped his authority, and the deficiencies given as detainable deficiencies is challenged by them, then they can appeal to the port state control, and if they don't get a favorable reply, we have a procedure how to make an appeal to the IOMOU Secretariat. And all these procedures, appeal procedures, are available on the IMOU website. And then we have a review panel. In case there is a detention which is challenged, then if the report comes from the port state, from the flag state, our ship was detained, which should not have been detained, then we collect the views, comments from the flag state, we collect the views and the comments from the port state, and then there is a laid down procedure in the Indian Ocean MOU where we form a panel of 3 members which are not either the port state control authority apart from them, and then the case is referred to the review panel. I am happy to inform you that in the last 5 years there has been no appeal with respect to the wrong detention. That itself shows that whatever the ships were detained, they did have our deficiencies and they did not make an appeal. We do get an appeal, small appeals with regard to the wrong, RO responsibility, assignment of the RO responsibility, which now in this committee we have also taken a review on that, and I'm sure from the next year we will not have any appeal on the wrong RO assignment of the RO responsibility also.
Well, you've touched on something else that I thought I would come and try and explore, but I think you have already responded to that. Now, getting back to you, you've been at the helm for 7-8 years now, and I believe it's coming to the end of a term. What will you be doing with yourself from now on?
See, I've been working, I was sailing earlier and then I was working with the Maritime Administration for 20 years. And the exposure what I got in the Indian Maritime Administration is I'm very happy, because I was used to be part of the WIMSA's audit. I was the first few who participated way back in 2008, and I was even part of the WIMSA's audit of the South Africa. I'm happy to tell you that I came for the audit here with the team. I was also part of the UNFCCC climate change under the Ministry of Environment in India. So I used to attend the UNFCCC conferences on climate change, because those days there was an issue on the fuel. That means that we should reduce the carbon emission from the ship's fuel bunker, and the other issue was putting a bunker levy on the bunkers. So these were discussed during the UNFCCC conference. So all that has brought I carry a lot of exposure to the climate change concerning with the shipping industry, and I look forward to use these knowledge what I have gained, whatever I have stored in my hard disk, and I would, if this can be used for the benefit of the shipping industry. They say when you retire you hang your boots, but I think for the time being I may not be hanging my boot, but I'll keep myself occupied to see what best I can offer to the industry what I have now.
Final question. I didn't warn you about this one. The fourth industrial revolution, in your view, how will it affect the maritime sector, but particularly shipping?
Yes, now we are talking about, if you see the shipping autonomous ships, we are talking about already, you see, when we used to sail, we used to have 50 plus officers and crew. Today you have maybe some single digit, not even 10 people on board ships. So things are changing very fast. Now data, the in thing is about data analysis, data banks, information. Now I'm told that even the ships may not carry spare parts. They will be flown whenever is required. They will be flown from one place to the other. Nowadays the ships engines do not require decarbonization. The units are just replaced on the generators. Everything is done ashore. The things are changing very fast. Even the seafarers have to keep themselves updated. Every day things are changing. I mean, the way things are, I see the shipping needs to move forward. The other day I was discussing, they say, like an EGDIS, I mean, I just give an example, electronic charts. Now, in the aeroplane industry, they had this long back. And now we are still talking about making, I mean, it's mandatory now, but in shipping industry is much behind. We have to move forward, much forward. And the way things are, I think it's a very challenging time for the shipping industry. And even if you see, the shipping industry has been in a depression for a very long time.
And that has implications also for port state control.
That's an implication in the port state control also. And even for the port state control officers, they have to keep abreasted with the latest technology. Like from 1st January 2020, the new sulfur regime is going to enter. Now the challenges is how do you test the oil or fuel oil. You cannot delay the ship. Similarly with the ballast water convention, whether it is complying with the convention, if you take the water from the testing and keep it ashore and send it for testing, you cannot do it overnight. It takes time. So these are the challenges for the port state control officer also.
Well said. I think I truly appreciate the time you've taken to chat to us about your experiences about the Indian Ocean Memorandum of Understandings grouping, but also about, the future as it involves the fourth industrial fourth industrial revolution, they call it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.